بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. As we said in the previous session, at the end of the session, I gave you an introduction to what we discussed today. The scholars on usul and also philosophy of language, they have different opinions about the way linguistic meanings are conveyed, the way terms or alfaz work. Some people have said that there is what we call as-sababiyyatu dhatiyah, essential causation, in the sense that in the world of takween, in the world of existence, there is a real relation between lafz and ma'na, between the term and meaning. For example, when you see a smoke, it indicates fire. But this is real. The relation between a smoke and fire is real. Whether we know or don't know, whether we are there or not, a smoke and fire have relation. So some people have thought the same is about relation between sabab, lafz and ma'na. Okay? And perhaps, although it is not in the book, but perhaps what can help them as a kind of supporting evidence is that sometimes you find very similar terms for the same meanings in different languages. Like, for example, mama or mom or mother, it's very close to each other in different languages. Yeah, or we say baba in Farsi. In Arabic we say ab. We also say in Farsi pedar and father, and I think in some languages Pedro or something like this. So they look very similar. So this is maybe something that some people can point at. But we are not happy with this theory because it is very exceptional to have, first of all, such similarities, and also maybe these similarities because these languages have common roots. But for the most part, there is no way for you to listen to a word and guess the meaning if you don't have any clue about the grammar and other words in that language. If someone sees a smoke, would realize that there's fire. But if you give someone a word in another language, they can never guess. So this shows that the relation between alfaz and ma'ani, between the terms and meanings, is not existential meaning or existential relation. Okay? Therefore, there is another theory which is better but it still has problems. But let us go step by step. So let's first study the introduction and the first theory, then we go to the second theory. الوضع وعلاقته بالدلالات المتقدمة. Designation and its relation with the previous or preceding dalalat. Dalala means indication or something like that. الدلالة التصورية هي في حقيقتها علاقة سببية بين تصور اللفظ وتصور المعنى. You remember we said دلالة تصوري is the meaning that comes to your mind as soon as you hear these words, even if you hear it from a robot, from a machine. When you hear water, the meaning of water, ma comes to your mind. This is دلالة التصوري. So, الدلالة التصورية هي في حقيقتها علاقة سببية. It's a kind of causal relation. علاقة means relation. سببية means causal. It's a kind of causal relation between conceiving لفظ, تصور اللفظ وتصور المعنى, and conceiving the meaning. So when you can think of that لفظ, that meaning comes to your mind. As soon as you think of water, that liquid comes to your mind. ولما كانت السببية بين شيئين لا تحصل بدون مبرر. Since this causal relation between two things cannot happen without mubarrir, something that can rationalize or justify it. Okay? Something must explain. People may speak, without thinking about these issues, but people who are going deeper, then they have this question: how it comes that this word brings this meaning? Why it doesn't bring another meaning? So, لما كانت السببية بين شيئين لا تحصل بدون مبرر اتجه البحث إلى تبريرها. Because this causality between two things does not happen without something that can justify and explain it, discussion about this justification is needed. It becomes pleasant. اتجه means it is wajih. Okay, it's appropriate to discuss the issue of sababiyya, that how it comes. وَمِنْ هُنَا نَشَأَتْ عِدَّةُ احْتِمَالات. And from this point, three possibilities have come. There are three possibilities. الأول احتمال السببية الذاتية. The first possibility is to say that there is essential causality or causation, because sababiyya and illiya are very similar. Sabab means cause. There is essential causality بأن يكون اللفظ. We explain this in this sense, that the term by its essence indicates the meaning and is the cause for calling the image of that meaning to the mind. وَسَبَبًا لِإِحْضَارِ صُورَتِهِ. إِحْضَار means to call, to bring. So, the essence of the term is enough to bring the meaning of that term to mind. ولا شك في سقوط هذا الاحتمال. Shaykh says there is no doubt that this possibility drops, means it's rejected. Why? لما هو معروف بالخبرة والملاحظة من عدم وجود أي دلالة لللفظ لدى الإنسان قبل الاكتساب والتعلم. Because of what is known through khibra, through information and consideration, that there is no indication for term for human beings before learning. If you don't learn a language, nothing comes to your mind when you hear words. For example, if you know Korean, Chinese, and you hear a word, nothing comes to your mind. So there is no dalalat al-dhati, there is no essential, existential, real causation. Okay, now we go to the second ihtimal, second possibility. And that is to say that this causation is not there by itself, by its essence. It is coming from a person or a group of people or maybe parliament, whatever, who designate terms to meanings. There must be a wazi'. Wazi' can be one person, can be few people, can be a council. But there must be someone that allocates this term for that meaning. This is wazi'. Wazi'ul lafz lil ma'na. Okay?
Clarifying.
Pardon?
Clarifying.
No, it's not clarified. To designate it. Because there is nothing to clarify. By this designation, everything starts. Before that, this term could be used for another thing, or just be without meaning. Yeah? We decide as wazi', whoever is wazi', decides that this term from now on is going to be used for this meaning. Not ijma. No. It's impossible that all people agree. Either one person or a group of people who have authority or, they will decide. افتراض أن السببية المذكورة نشأت من وضع الواضع اللفظ للمعنى. So the second ihtimal possibility is to suppose that this causality that we mentioned, al-madhkura means the above mentioned causality, nasha'at originates from designation of the designator, one term for one meaning, designation of term for meaning. Okay? Nasha'a means to originate, to rise from something. Mansha, have you heard mansha masdar? والوضع نوع اعتبار يجعله الواضع. Wad' designation is a kind of i'tibar, is a kind of, this is a very common term, we use it in philosophy, in usul, i'tibar, and i'tibar has different meanings. And here we mean by i'tibar that we consider, we decide that this lafz should be used for that ma'na. Okay? There is nothing without our consideration. Okay? If the person or the people who designate, they were not there, this term had no meaning. وَالْوَضْعُ نوع اعتبار is a kind of اعتبار, consideration, that يجعله الواضع, that the designator makes. وَإِنِ اخْتَلَفَ الْمُحَقِّقُونَ محققون في نوعية المعتبر, not معتبر, معتبر. Although محققون means those scholars who are very good in their research and finding out the facts and the truth. Because tahqiq can mean research, but also can mean here when we say muhaqqiq, doesn't just researcher, it means a very good scholar who can really go deep and discover the truth. So muhaqqiqun, they have disagreement about what type of thing is mu'tabar, means considered. They do i'tibar, but what is mu'tabar, means what is considered. So he refers to different views. فَهُنَاكَ مَنْ قَالَ, there are people who say,
what is considered as the meaning of the term?
No, we are explaining wad'. We want to see what has happened that now this term means that meaning. It is something that Wazeh has done, a kind of i'tibar, a kind of consideration. But what is that consideration? Or what is that intervention? Or sometimes people say convention. What is that thing that he has done? Some people have said, اعتبار سببية اللفظ لتصور المعنى. They say there is no real sababiyat. Okay, there is no real sababiyat. But we make it by our consideration. We do i'tibar. For example, milkiyat, ownership. Is it real or i'tibari? It's i'tibari. When you own something, or before or after, you are the same person. And that object is the same object. We decide that it belongs to you. Means you have right to use it or sell it, and other people don't have right. This is called i'tibari. This is one meaning of i'tibari.
But this
We have not yet reached that.
no, you
Yes. So, إنه اعتبار سببية اللفظ لتصور المعنى. Instead of saying that there is real and existential, we say we suppose, we consider that lafz, that term, is the cause for understanding or conceiving the meaning. So, اعتبار السببية. Another group say, وَمَنْ قَالَ إِنَّهُ اعتبار كون اللفظ أداة لتفهيم المعنى. They said, we consider, we suppose that this term be an instrument for making that concept understood. If I want you think of the same thing that is in my mind, I am thinking of, for example, ice. And I want you to understand ice. So they say, we consider lafz as an adat, as a means, as a kind of instrument for tasawwur al-ma'na. Another view says, إنه اعتبار كون اللفظ على المعنى. They said, we consider that this term is put on the meaning, like a marker, like a sign.
Is this the third theory or this part of the second one?
All these three are part of the second. كما توضع الأعمدة على رؤوس الفراسخ. In the same way that they put some pillars for every farsakh. Every farsakh is, less than 6 kilometers. Okay? So say every kilometer, for example, every mile, whatever. You know, in some motorways or some places, they put a sign every mile or every 10 miles. You know, they put some sign. So they measure where is, for example, 10 mile away from the destination, and they put something on that point. So some people said, Vaz is to put a term on meaning. Okay? So the second view has three, for example, ways of explaining it. Yeah, three options, three articulations. But all of them have problem. ويرد على هذا المسلك بكل محتملاته. The objection for this view, with all its different possibilities, is أن سببية اللفظ لتصور المعنى سببية واقعية بعد الوضع. The causation that exists between laughs and thinking of ma'na, conceiving ma'na. When you hear something and the meaning comes to your mind, there is a causation which is real, but real after designation. In the first theory, it was saying this sababiyya is real and essential. You don't need to do anything. We said we don't agree with that. But we agree that when you hear the term, really something comes to your mind. Just to say that we consider, we suppose, it's not explaining. You have to say what happens. Many times decisions are made and people don't know about it and don't, act upon it. A law is passed and people don't know, so it has no impact. Or, for example, someone owns something and we don't know, or even he may not know, for example, he's inherited something, he doesn't know. You have to explain how, when we hear the term, something comes to our mind. So there is a real sababiyya, of course, ba'da al-wada'. After designation, something real happens. ومجرد اعتبار كون شيء سببا لشيء. And just considering something. We say, we suppose, we consider something the cause for another thing. Or we consider something similar to this. There are different views. لا يحقق السببية. Just simply the fact that you consider does not produce sababiyya. فلا بد لأصحاب مسلك الاعتبار في الوضع أن يفسروا كيفية نشوء السببية الواقعية. So, for those people who believe in the second view, okay? Maslak i'tibar is the second general view, which by itself has different sub-theories, okay? But everyone who believes in the second i'tibar, they have to interpret كيفية النشوء السببية الواقعية, how this real causality comes to exist. How your i'tibar makes a real connection. وقد يكون عجز هذا المسلك عن تفسير ذلك أدى بآخرين إلى اختيار الاحتمال الثالث الآتي. And maybe the fact that the people who follow this are unable, this maslak, this opinion, this view is incompetent, it's ajiz, because this view cannot explain how this real connection is there. some people have been forced to come up with another theory. وقد يكون عجز هذا المسلك عن تفسير ذلك أدى بآخرين. Maybe inability or lack of competence, lack of ability of this view to explain that sababiyya, that causation, has made others to choose the third possibility which comes, al-ati. Al-ati means which comes, which follows. So there is a progress. Second, compared to the first, is better. There is a progress, but it's not enough. Because still, although they have added that we should do something, wazir is needed, because according to the first, you don't need wazir. But still, it's not sufficient, it's not enough. You have to explain what really happens. So, there is a third view. They say, okay, we need wazir, unlike the first. So what is common between the second and the third? They both say we need wazir, designation. But what is different between this and the second is that the second say we need i'tibar. Here they say no, i'tibar is not enough. We need iltizam, commitment. When, for example, if I am wazir, if I am the one who designates, I say I am committed to use water whenever I mean that liquid. I am multazim, I am committed. And if you speak the same language, you are also committed to use it the same way. This commitment is the real essence of wazir. Okay, commitment, that you only use. So if you want water, don't say something else. Or if you don't want water, don't say water. Promise, commit yourself to this, that whenever you want to talk about that liquid, you say water. Okay? This is iltizam.
No, but where in the second theory?
Pardon?
In the second theory, nobody said that they're not going to be committed.
Yeah, but they didn't emphasize on commitment, as if it is something that like you coin as, for example, say you coin, for example, dirham or dinar. You don't need to make commitment. It's finished.
Yeah, like the newest world I can think of. Before 2016, there was nothing called Brexit. But once they started using Brexit, everybody knows.
Yeah, so the question is Brexit is like a coin that someone makes it, that's it? Or it is something that needs commitment? That whenever you say this term, you mean this. And this commitment should continue also. It's an ongoing process. So this is something that the second view didn't emphasize on, at least. They didn't deny it, but the way they talked practically denied it, because they didn't mention it. So, al-wad'u laysa i'tibaran. Unlike the second view, this is not i'tibar. بل هو تعهد من الواضع بألا يأتي باللفظ إلا عند قصد تفهيم المعنى. This is a commitment from واضع, the one who designates, that he would not bring the term unless when he intends making you understand. Tafhim and ifham in Arabic, both of them are similar, means to make someone understand. Because fahm means you understand. Ifham or tafhim is you make someone else understand. Okay? So is ifham and tafhim muta'addi or not? You know lazim and muta'addi. Ifham and tafhim is lazim or muta'addi? Muta'addi. Fahm is lazim or muta'addi? No. Both of them are muta'addi. Yeah. One of them is muta'addi with one maf'ul, one is muta'addi with two maf'ul. Because even fahm needs maf'ul. What are you going to understand? I understood your point. Yeah? Fahimtu ذاك الأمر. So it is muta'addi with one maf'ul, but afhamtuhu ذلك الأمر. So it's two maf'ul. Yeah?
The person and the maf'ul.
So هو تعهد من الواضح. What is هو? هو refers to vaz, not consideration. No. الوضع ليس اعتبارا. بل هو. Vaz is not consideration. بل هو تعهد من الواضح. It is a commitment from the one who designates. بألا يأتي باللفظ, and that iltizam is this, that would not bring the term إلا عند قصد تفهيم المعنى, unless he has the intention of making someone understand the meaning. So if you say flower, you are committed to say when you mean flower, and you want me to understand from this flower. And maybe you say, what about those who lie? Those who tell lies. These are the people who don't keep their promise. They are using the term when they don't have the commitment. But even telling lie works because everyone thinks they are committed. Yeah? If you live in a society that all people lie, tell lies, then liars cannot, do anything. Liars can work when most of people are truthful. Yeah? So they misuse the fact that people are committed. So, وَبِذَلِكَ, with this commitment, تَنْشَأُ مُلَازَمَةٌ بَيْنَ الْإِتْيَانِ بِاللَّفْظِ وَقَصْدِ تَفْهِيمِ الْمَعْنَى. With this commitment, a kind of mulazama. Mulazama means correlation. There is a difference between luzum and mulazama. Luzum can be from one side. Yeah, lazim, malzum. Something requires another thing. But mulazama is from both sides. Okay? You can say correlation, yeah? So with this promise and commitment, a kind of correlation originates between bringing the term, mentioning the term, and intending the meaning to be understood, to convey the meaning. This mulazama is very important. But as you can see, and mashallah you are clever, that this theory automatically connects the term to ad-dalalatu tasdiqiyah. It's not only tasawwuriyah. In the previous one is tasawwuriyah, but here there is dalalatu tasdiqiyah, because it brings the meaning which is in the mind of the speaker. وَلَازِمُ ذَلِكَ أَنْ يَكُونَ الْوَضْعُ هُوَ السَّبَبُ فِي الدَّلَالَةِ التَّصْدِيقِيَّةِ الْمُسْتَبْطَنَةِ ضِمْنًا لِلدَّلَالَةِ التَّصَوُّرِيَّةِ. So, was designation becomes the cause for dalalat tasdiqiyya, which is implicit in dalalat tasawwuriyya. So when you hear water, according to this view, not only that liquid comes to your mind, also it comes to your mind that that person means this liquid. Okay? بينما while على مسلك الاعتبار لا يكون الوضع سببا إلا للدلالة التصورية. While according to the second view, which we was talking about اعتبار, designation is only cause for دلالة التصوري, just to bring the meaning. وهذا فرق مهم بين المسلكين. This is one important difference between the two views, between the second, which was i'tibar, and the third, which is iltizam. وَهُنَاكَ فَرْقٌ آخر. Now I want to see who is listening carefully and understands. The second difference. The first difference you understood. Yeah? According to this, there is always dalalat tasdiqi. Means the meaning in the mind of the speaker, not just meaning. Now, the second difference, هو أنه بناء على التعهد, according to the view which says التزام تعهد, commitment is needed. يجب افتراض كل متكلم متعهدا وواضعا. Everyone who uses that word has to be committed, not one person at the beginning. You also, by using this, you are promising that whenever I say water, I mean that liquid. It's not that one person can, promise on behalf of everyone. You, by using that language, is like you are subscribing to the laws and regulations of that language, and you are committed. Okay? You cannot say, no, I didn't promise to use it in this way. If you are using this language, you have made the promise. Yeah? It's like a game, or I don't know, a trade or whatever. You commit yourself. So, بناء على التعهد, based on the third opinion, but between two and third, this is the second, okay? Because the first one, we left it. So this one, ta'ahud iltizam, according to this, it's necessary to suppose that every speaker is muta'ahid and wazir, is committed and designator. لكي تتم الملازمة في كلامه, so that in his or her speech this correlation can happen, can become complete. I have to promise, you have to promise, everyone who speaks has to make this promise. أما بناء على مسلك الاعتبار, but according to the view of اعتبار, that you consider, فيفترض أن الوضع إذا صدر في البداية من المؤسس أوجب دلالة تصورية عامة لكل من علم به. According to اعتبار, when designation happens at the beginning from the founder, مؤسس means what? Founder. Means the founder of language. When the founder of the language makes designation, this makes دلالت تصوری عام, general, inclusive, for everyone who knows that this has happened. There is such اعتبار. بدون حاجة إلى تكرار عملية الوضع من الجميع. There is no need that everyone would repeat the exercise of designation. One اعتبار at the beginning. That's it. But according to Maslak Iltizam, everyone who uses that language or that word should make promise. Okay? Shaykh says even this view has problems. Although there are advantages, but also still there are problems. What is the problem? يرد على مسلك التعهد. These objections are applicable to the view of commitment. أولا أن المتكلم لا يتعهد عادة. Speakers normally don't make commitment. In what sense? You are maybe surprised. In this sense, that he said, in every language you see sometimes speakers use terms metaphorically. So they may say lion, but they don't mean that animal. They mean brave person. So there is no commitment that they should always use that term for that meaning. Of course, this can be replied, this objection, by saying that according to Sakaki, even the one who is using it metaphorically is using it in its real sense. It is not majaz of al-lugha, it's majaz of al-isnad. So he means really that animal. He means that animal. And this is why he doesn't say brave. If he meant by lion brave, okay, he could have said brave. Why he didn't say brave? Yeah, so what's the point in balagha here? The whole point is that he brings to your mind that animal, which is very brave and strong, but you know that here it's used for a human being who is brave. It shows, lots of emphasis, mubalagha, kind of exaggeration. But this is our answer, but he doesn't mention this answer. Maybe he doesn't believe that majaz is dar isnad. أن المتكلم لا يتعهد عادة. Normally, عادة means habitually, normally, a speaker doesn't make commitment. بألا يأتي باللفظ إلا إذا قصد تفهيم المعنى الذي يريد وضع اللفظ له. He doesn't make this commitment or promise that he would not use in future this term, he would not bring this term unless he has the intention of making that meaning for which this term is designated understood. Shall I repeat? He does not promise that in future, when he's making designation, he doesn't promise that in future I only use this term when I want that same meaning for which this is designated, the real meaning, to be understood. لأن هذا يعني التزامه ضمنان بأن لا يستعمله مجازا. Because if he promises that he only uses for the meaning which has been designated for, then it means that he is implicitly promising not to use it in metaphoric sense. لأن هذا يعني, if he makes such a promise that he uses only for the meaning for which this is designated, that meaning which is in dictionary, that real meaning, معنى الحقيقي, for example. Of course, in dictionary, sometimes they use, they put معنى حقيقي, sometimes also they put مستعمل فيه, which is more than معنى حقيقي. Inshallah, we will talk about it later. But if it is accurate, very accurate dictionary, they only put the meaning for which this term is designated. So, there is no such a promise. Because if he makes such a promise, this means that he has to commit himself implicitly that he would not use this term metaphorically. مع أن كل متكلم كثيرا ما يأتي باللفظ ويقصد به تفهيم المعنى المجازي. While every speaker many times uses the term, he brings the term and intends by this making metaphoric meaning understood. He wants to convey the metaphoric meaning. فلا يحتمل صدور الالتزام الضمني المذكور من كل متكلم. So it's not possible that say every speaker has such an implicit commitment that I don't use it in metaphoric sense. Okay? This is one problem. The second problem, أن الدلالة اللفظية والعلقة اللغوية بموجب هذا المسلك تتضمن استدلالا منطقيا. The second problem is, the second objection that Sheikh has is that linguistic indication and linguistic relation, according to this view, requires a logical arguing or logical reasoning, logical proof. Al-Halqah al-Lughawiyya means linguistic relation. Because according to this view, you say that because he has made the commitment, so now whenever he uses this, he means that meaning that he had committed to. And Sheikh wants to say this makes it very complicated. Only people who understand logic or, at least simple reasoning, they can then understand the meaning of the terms. What we see that even children use language. Children cannot think of ta'ahud and promise and this type of thing. Okay? When children talk to you, do you say that in their mind they must have made this commitment, and then because they have this commitment, so they mean this? No. أن الدلالة اللفظية والعلقة اللغوية بموجب هذا المسلك تتضمن استدلالا منطقيا. Linguistic dalala, indication, and linguistic relation, according to this view. Which view? التزام, yes. تتضمن استدلالا منطقيا involves a logical reasoning. Yeah, استدلال منطقي means logical reasoning. وإدراكا للملازمة, an understanding of this correlation. وانتقالا من أحد طرفيها إلى الآخر, and that your mind would have transition from one part of the mulazama to the other part, from lafz to ma'na. Okay? مع أن وجودها في حياة الإنسان يبدأ منذ أدوار الأولى لطفولته. While existence of this linguistic delala and relation in human life starts from early stages of childhood. Al-adwar, al-ula means early stages of tufula, childhood. وَقَبْلَ أَنْ يَنْضُجْ أَيُّ فِكْرٍ إِسْتِدْلَالِيًا, before any logical and a kind of reasoning becomes possible. Yanduj means ripe, to become complete. وَهَذَا يُبَرْهِنُ, and this proves that أَنَّهَا أَبْسَطُ مِنْ ذَلِكَ, must be more simple than this. You have made it more complicated. Yeah, you have imagined everyone is a philosopher. Pardon? Yes. So, now what's the solution? He says there is no need for vas, certainly. But we are indeed using or relying on a kind of sunnah, a kind of rule or law in our mind. We call it tada'il ma'ani, association of ideas. You know, association of ideas, tada'il ma'ani. Our mind has this characteristic that when comes to notice relation between two things, repeats. For example, if you see two people always together, 10 times, 20 times, you see these people together. Then the next time, as soon as you see one of them, the other one also comes to your mind. Yeah? You don't see him, but it comes to your mind. This is called tada'i al-ma'ani, association of ideas. Okay? Lafz and ma'na, when they are used little by little, such relation takes form between them. Where? In our mind of the people who know the language and have been using that language. As soon as you hear the term, this meaning comes to your mind, even if you hear it from a tape recorder or robot. Because it's tada'i. Tada'i doesn't need to have any specific reason. Yeah? There is a brother in our center who comes for Salat. And I tell him, whenever I see you, I remember Salat. Because he is very frequent, and also most of the time I only him at the time of Salat. So whenever, even I put, when I saved his number on my mobile, I put so and so namaz. Because there are other people who are called with that name, so I put namaz. So this is tada'il ma'ani. Yes? Of course, a mu'min should also bring to mind of people God. Yeah, Isa alayhi salam said, "Man yudhakkirukumullah ru'yatuhu." So, because every time you have seen this mu'min, he's saying something good, doing something good, so reminds you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is called association of ideas. وَالتَّحْقِيقِ أَنَّ الْوَضْعَ يَقُومُ عَلَى أَسَاسِ قَانُونٍ تَكْوِينِيٍّ لِلذِّهْنِ الْبَشَرِ. Tahqiq means the view which is supported by good research, truth-finding research. Yeah, tahqiq. Waz' designation, يَقُومُ عَلَى means it's based on أساس قانون تكويني للذهن البشري, a kind of existential generative law of human mind. This is real. Real in what sense? Not in the sense that between those two has to be real relation. The first group were saying there is real relation between the two. No, there is no real relation. But in my mind, there is a relation between these two, and this is not confusion. I know that there is such a relation between them. But who created this relation? Was there? And then repetition. والتحقيق أن الوضع يقوم على أساس قانون تكويني للذهن البشري. Designation depends on the basis of a takwini, means real, existential, generative law of human mind. وهو, what is that law? أنه كلما ارتبط شيئان في تصور الإنسان ارتباطا مؤكدا أصبح بعد ذلك تصور أحدهما مستدعيا لتصور الآخر. Whenever two things in our conception are strongly linked with each other, after that, أصبح بعد ذلك, after that, conceiving one of them brings mustad'i, means calls the other one. وهذا الربط بين تصورين. This connection between two conceptions, this association, sometimes happens automatically. تارة يحصل بصورة عفوية. عفوية means automatically. Unconsciously, automatically this happens. كالربط بين السماع الزئير وتصور الأسد الذي حصل نتيجة التقارن الطبيعي المتكرر بين السماع الزئير ورؤية الأسد. Zair is the name for the sound that lion makes. What is called it? Roaring. In zoo, in jungle, on movies, normally we have seen lions roaring. We didn't decide, no one has decided this is what we have seen. But what happens is then automatically association between these two takes form. And now, even if you hear from a computer that sound, it brings to your mind the image of lion. It brings to your mind. Like the connection between hearing the sound of roaring and the conception of lion, which has happened as a result of taqarun tabi'i, natural taqarun. Taqarun means like coincidence or being together. Pardon? Yeah, but taqarun is more, you can say association or two things being close to each other. Company, proximity, or kind of coexistence, for example. But it is tabi'i, natural. Al-mutakarrir, it's repeated. You have seen many times. If, for example, you are a person who has never seen any lion roaring, this doesn't happen to you. Va ukhra. So, taratan, sometimes it is automatic. Afawi. But ukhra yahsulu bil-inaya allati yaqumu biha al-wad. But sometimes we need inaya. Inaya means a kind of intervention, a kind of consideration. And this is what wazi', the one who designates, has to do. Okay? إذ يربط بين اللفظ وتصور معنى مخصوص في ذهن الناس. واضح connects the term with conception of a specific meaning in the mind of people. Who creates association in your mind between this term and that meaning? واضح, the one who has designated. إذ يربط means يربط الواضح بين اللفظ, the one who designates, connects the term and imagination or conception or comprehension of that specific meaning in the mind of people. فينتقلون من سماع اللفظ إلى تصور المعنى. So people, because of that, they transit, yeah? They are transferred, they transit from hearing the term to understanding that meaning, imagining or comprehending that meaning. والاعتبار الذي تحدثنا عنه في الاحتمال الثاني ليس إلا طريقة يستعملها الواضع في إيجاد ذلك الربط والقرن المخصوص بين اللفظ وصورة المعنى. That consideration that according to the second theory, we talked about it, is nothing other than one way of using this designator, uses that way to create this connection between term and meaning. That is one way of creating this. Okay? فَمَسْلَكُ الْإِعْتِبَارِ هُوَ الصَّحِيحِ. So the view, which we discussed, the second view, is okay, but you have to add this supplement to it. Okay? So it is correct, but with this meaning. You add to it the idea of association. So there is i'tibar, but with association of ideas. وَبِذَلِكَ الصَّحَّ أَنْ يُقَالَ. And because of this, it is correct to say, إِنَّ الْوَضْعَ. This is the conclusion of this discussion. إِنَّ الْوَضْعَ قَرْنٌ مَخْصُوصٌ بَيْنَ تَصَوُّرِ اللَّفْظِ وَتَصَوُّرِ الْمَعْنَى بِنَحْوٍ أَكِيدٍ. Designation is a special connection. Qarn doesn't mean century. Qarn here means proximity, connection. Okay? Qarin. Have you heard qarin? Qarin, qurana, aqran means people who are close to each other. Designation is a special connection or proximity between conceiving the term and conceiving the meaning in a strong way. لكي يستتبع حالة إثارة أحدهما للآخر في الذهن. One of them, if it is triggered, it is brought to your mind, brings the other one. Okay? لكي يستتبع حالة إثارة أحدهما, in the condition that one of them is provoked or is triggered, it brings the other one to the mind. So, now, question. So, according to this view, is dalalat lafzi is tasawwuri or tasdiqi? tasawwuri only, because iltizam was tasdiqi. Tasawwuri and tasdiqi. Whenever there is tasdiqi, there is tasawwuri as well. But that is according to iltizam. Here there is no iltizam, there is no commitment, and it is just using it to create this connection. وَمِنْ هُنَا نَعْرِفْ أَنَّ الْوَضْعَ لَيْسَ سَبَبًا إِلَّا لِلدَّلَالَةِ التَّصَوُّرِيَّةِ. Designation is not the cause for anything except دلالة تصور. أما الدلالتان التصديقيتان. We had two types of dalalat tasdiqi. One is just to say that this was in his mind. The second was that he was meaning this. Those two types of dalalat tasdiqi, فَمَنْشَأُهُمَا الظُّهُورُ الْحَالِي وَالسِّيَاقِي لِلْكَلَامِ. Those two types of dalalat tasdiqi, they can originate from what the context and the circumstances show you. If you hear it from a person who is awake and who is, mature, then you think that he must mean this. But if you hear it from a child or, for example, a robot, it doesn't. So those two types of dalalat tasdiqi, what is their source and origin? الظهور الحالي والسياقي للكلام. لا الوضع is the way that context, siyaq means context, hal means condition. From hal, we had many times this hal. We said that muqtazai hal in balaghat, you have studied, yeah? That you should act and speak according to what the condition and circumstances require. So from that we understand the dalalat tasdiqi, not from the designation. Okay, so alhamdulillah, we finished. So basically what we said that there are three views. One is that waz is alaqiyya zatiyya, so there is a kind of essential causality. Second was i'tibar, that wazih makes a special consideration, a special intervention, that this term should bring that meaning. And the third was iltizam, wazih, and indeed every person who speaks is wazih. They promise, they commit that whenever they want to make us understand this meaning, they use this term. They don't use this term unless they want us to understand that meaning. So the three views, what he prefers is the second, but with supplement. Because the second doesn't explain how that sababiyya comes. He brings the idea of association of ideas to explain how that sababiyya takes form. Inshallah, in the next week, we will talk about two types of waz'. Waz' ta'yini, waz' ta'ayyuni. We had it in previous book on usul. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.
Can I ask you a question, please?
Yes.
What does it mean?